if you're living life in recovery, whether from alcohol or drugs, but you're still experiencing and suffering from depression, check out this video. Hi everybody, my name is Charlie Chiribaca, host of Red Road Journeys, where we explore the culture of sobriety. I asked the Sober Indians Facebook page online for any Q&A questions, and so far I only got one. Okay, but it was a good one. The person said, Sandy, I know for myself I have dealt with depression, being suicidal, with medication, without medication, in hospital. I noticed that it could be chemical or it could be reactive, like not making changes out of fear. What's your experience with this? I know some brothers and sisters have lost their lives over this rather than picking up. Thanks for doing this. Excited to hear other people's reactions. Well, I'm glad you asked that question because it's a real important thing. When a person is detoxing from alcohol and drugs, the brain has to be clear of everything for, depending on how much a person drank or used, maybe even 30 days, because the brain has to chemically reboot, just like a computer. I mean, it really does. We've done a lot of damage. If you do brain scans, some people's brains, like mine, for instance, when I quit drinking a long time ago, it probably looked like Swiss cheese. All right, now that's not to say that it was permanent damage, although there might be a little bit, because I still space out and stuff from time to time. But those parts of the brain were simply not working. So that's why it looks like a brain can look like Swiss cheese. And so it needs time to heal. Needs time to start working again. And once that happens, they call that actually the honeymoon period after withdrawing detox. And that's when the person should be practicing new skills. Basically, like I mentioned, training, repetition, going to meetings, opening up, sharing. For people in 12-step programs, working the steps. And we can't white knuckle it alone. We can't just think that I can say a few prayers and I'll be okay. There has to be some heavy lifting. So back to depression. When a person is experiencing depression in early recovery, it could be true clinical depression where they have a chemical imbalance in their brain and they're always going to be like that and they need medication, or it could be more like Sandy mentioned, more reactive, where we're just not used to experiencing any negative feelings and emotions. Every feeling or emotion we experienced when we were drinking, it was always medicated. If I'm stressed about death, I freak out and I drink. If I'm stressed about a breakup or a domestic violence situation, or I'm lonely, I mean, those feelings and emotions, they do suck. Other people who never drink and never use drugs, they've been dealing with them for their whole lives and they've coped, and that's what we have to do. We have to catch up. So that's what I mean by it's like going to the gym and working out, no pain, no gain. So when we quit drinking or using, it's like gym for our emotions, no pain, no gain. We have to experience these negative feelings and emotions and just feel the pain, learn how to cope with them, right? And that's why relying heavily on 12-step programs or a non-shaming kind of church or whatever, traditional native ways, Sweat Lodge way or whatever, those things are really good for us because we need that outside support. We can't do this on our own. Change is a very fearful thing for anybody. People who do it a lot, they've gotten used to the process of change, and that's where we're all very brave for quitting drinking, because we're doing something that we're definitely not sure about, all right, and that we're fearful about, and the only way we get more experience is simply not picking up. Now, I know people say, well, it's not about time, it's about just today. Yeah, I know, I get that. That's not what I'm talking about. But the whole point is to make my life better, all right? And if I'm drinking and I'm relapsing every week, you know what, my life is not going to get better. So we have to, eventually, we have to collect some time for our life to get better. I need experience at being depressed. I need experience at being sad. I need experience at being lonely. I need experience at being bored, right? And actually, bored is an interesting thing, because if boredom, the brain kind of translates boredom as, this recovery stuff is all bullshit. And that means you're doing something wrong, or you could be doing something better. One of the things that will really help dealing with fear, and everybody deals with it, I don't care what they say, it might just be a little bit because they have a lot of experience at coping with change or challenges, or it could be a lot because we're brand new at this. A person who is fearless is simply Not afraid of failure. What do I got to lose? And when it comes to a job, exploring different hobbies, way of life, there might not be a lot to lose. But when it comes to substance abuse and maintaining sobriety, we got a lot to lose. You may not seem like you have much in your life right now to lose. Believe me, you got a lot to lose, but you got everything to gain, definitely. So instead of giving up 5 minutes before the miracle, like they used to say in 12-step programs, go see a doctor. I'm just a licensed alcohol and drug abuse counselor. I can't make any mental health diagnoses. Go see a mental health clinician. They'll give you a true diagnosis. And this is real important about medication. If you do have to take medication for depression, it works kind of like this. All right, so my little medicine bag here is a sponge. And when I'm depressed, when I'm really feeling down, this sponge is dry, man. It is dry to the bone. And so when I take the medication, the only way the medication is going to work is if the whole sponge is saturated. So, but the only way I can take the medication is just one drop at a time. It would be just getting one drop a day. Oops, I actually dropped some. And every day I do that. I put another drop in until finally it becomes saturated. And it can take about 30 days or so. A big mistake a lot of people make when they're taking medication for depression and anxiety is once they take their medication every day for a month or so, and now the sponge, their body is saturated with the medicine, they decide, you know what, I'm feeling pretty good now. I don't want to rely on that medicine, so I'm not gonna take that medication anymore. I feel better. I feel good about this. I feel strong. And 30 days later, guess what happens? The sponge is dry again, and now there's no medication, so we pick up. This is a bubbly drink, actually. By the way, it's not booze or wine or anything. It's important, if you're taking medication, stay on it. If you don't like any of the side effects, don't give up on it completely. Go see your mental health physician or your psychiatrist, whoever, and try a different brand, try a different type. You just got to find the right type for yourself. And if you don't feel like it's that kind of depression where you have a consistent, permanent chemical imbalance in your brain, then I revert back to, we're going to need training on how to cope with feelings and emotions. You know, I don't know what it's like to be angry and not drink. And that's where I need other like-minded people to help me with that. Again, if you go into a 12-step program, this is the beauty of 12-step programs. Nobody goes in there because we're well. So there's no shame in going in. Everybody knows what it's like to be brand new. Everybody does. You know, nobody went in there with 5 years to boot. Even if they think they did, they were in prison for 5 years, and then now they're out and they go into meetings. You know what? I used to work in a prison, running a therapeutic community for Native American men in prison in New Mexico, and it's a whole different ballgame. Being institutionalized like that, we had our own pod and everything, and so you could do all that recovery stuff, and then all of a sudden getting out and holy shit, now I'm in the real world again and I don't have any support. So I have to go where there is support. I need training at how to feel sad, lonely, even excited. You know, we get too excited. Say you won a bunch of money, and then now you have a couple of grand in your pocket, and you're bored. Okay, so now I got a pocket of money, full money, which is an external trigger, and I'm bored, which is an internal trigger. I don't know how to process that I've never known how to process those feelings and emotions of excitement without drinking. So I go drink. And that's where the training factor of recovery comes in, because it's a whole different lifestyle. A person can't stay sober in the old lifestyle or culture, way of life that they were living before. It's simply not going to happen. My credentials in this is, in the last 20 years of doing this, plus maybe the 10 years before when I go into meetings all the time, thousands of encounters, thousands upon thousands of encounters. And I haven't seen anybody maintain any long-term sobriety enough for their life to change in the way they really want it to change, unless they change their whole way of life, their whole culture, which means everything. But then again, luckily, the best way to do that, and I'll end with this, the best way to change every single thing about your whole life is Pretty simple, actually. Don't get freaked out about it. It's simply, you just do the next right thing. And that's, you could do that anytime because we're always in the now. So just by consistently doing the next right thing, making the next right choice. That's how we do this, man. Always doing the next right thing. All right, I'm gonna make a video soon on spirituality and the third step, and ask more questions. Subscribe to this channel. Really like to see that. I'm giving this about 6 months. We'll see what happens. If not, I'll probably just close up shop. But it's like free counseling. How can you go wrong with that? I'm not getting any money for this. See ya.